Boyfriend found out my family has a lot of money and is furious I didn't use it to help him. So I, 17 female, have been dating my boyfriend, Mike, 16 male, for about 3 months now. We're both juniors in high school and everything has been going really well between us. We met through mutual friends about 8 months ago and hit it off quickly. He's funny, kind, and down to earth. We have an amazing relationship, but our financial situations are different. My family is pretty well off. Not rich, no mansions, yachts, etc. But we live in a nice house, take 1 or 2 vacations per year, and I don't really have to stress about money. I only work just so I'm not sitting at home doing nothing. That said, I've always been taught not to flaunt it nor bring it up. We drive normal cars and live a fairly average lifestyle even if we have more savings than others. I never talk about money with people. Mike's family doesn't have as much. He's mentioned how they struggle sometimes to pay bills and how they have to budget for everything. Because of this, he's made a few comments about rich kids being spoiled or out of touch, which is why I didn't bring up my family situation. I didn't want him to see me differently or feel awkward about the differences between us. I don't care what his financial situation is. I love him anyway. He's seen my house and know my parents run a business, but he doesn't know about all my parents' assets, which make a lot more money and is what keeps us comfortable. So he doesn't know how much we really have. Well, recently, Mike and I had dinner with my family along with cousins. We all sat down and talked about traveling in general, and one of my cousins mentioned a vacation home my parents had. She was talking about the cabin we had in the mountains. Our family loves camping and hiking, so we vacation there sometimes. Mike went quiet, but I could tell something was up. Later, when we were alone, he asked why I never told them that my family had so much money. I tried to explain that it wasn't something I thought was important, and I didn't want him to feel weird about it. Besides, he knew I was more well-loved than him. He just didn't know the full extent. That's when he got a bit upset and said something that caught me off guard. He mentioned how I could have helped him out with some of the things he's been struggling with financially, like gas money or when his card needed repairs a few months ago. He said that he was not asking for handouts, but he said it feels like I was hiding something from him when I could have made things easier. I told him I didn't want to make things awkward between us by offering money, and I didn't think it was my place to get involved with his finances. But now he says it feels like I wasn't being honest and that maybe I don't trust him enough to share that part of my life. Over the next few weeks, Mike started getting a little invasive. He looked up my house on Zillow and was shocked at the value. Mike showed me his screen and was upset that he didn't know how rich we were. He also started looking up my family members on social media sites to see what they do and how rich they are. Cousins, uncles, and aunts. I got really mad and told him I didn't appreciate him digging through my family life and my finances are not his business. I asked him to stop being weird. Mike then responded he was just trying to fully understand what my lifestyle is like, but I think he's going completely off the rails. I didn't mean for it to turn into such a big deal. I was just trying to avoid making him feel uncomfortable or like he was less than me. I also believed my family finances are irrelevant, but now I'm wondering if I should have been more open from the start. Am I the a-hole? No. OP. You're not the a-hole. And, also, I don't think your boyfriend understand what handouts are because he was actually asking for a handout and he was angry you didn't give him one. And also, you're absolutely right. Your family finances are absolutely irrelevant to the relationship unless he makes them relevant, which is something he's doing. But truly, they have nothing to do with you personally. They don't make the person who you are, and you were taught not to flaunt it, which is actually a pretty humble way to go about life. And him trying to understand what your lifestyle is like. Like what? Are you going to some sort of a red carpet or restaurant openings or stuff like that? No. It sounds like you just live a regular life. You've got a job and you go to school. And he's been to your house, so he's seen the type of life you have. So, no, Opie, I don't think you're the a-hole. If he has a problem with how much money your family has, then that's something that he needs to work out, but it's not something that you need to placate to. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Tricky Seagrass says, not the a-hole. What the F is this guy's issue? You've been dating for only 3 months and he expects you to financially support him? He's acting just as entitled as the spoiled rich kids he complains about. You didn't deceive him at all. It's not like he outright asked how rich your family was and you lied to him or anything. He sounds like a whiny jerk. I've lived in poverty as well and never would have acted so unhinged about this, and I would have been embarrassed to have a partner start offering to pay for stuff like that. The Moxie RN says, not the a-hole. His response is completely inappropriate and you are not the a-hole. The reason you didn't want to tell him is exactly what happened when he found out anyways. You tried your best, but I think he is harboring some resentment and can't separate your family situation from you. I would say the relationship has run its course, but it's not your fault that he let this poison your relationship. And Huge Shallot 5297 says, you're teenagers dating for 3 months, And you should help him fix his car or give him funds in general? No, no, and F no. He's been invaded by the green-eyed envy monster, and he no longer just sees you as his girlfriend but as a potential ATM. Your family's finances are irrelevant to him. It's none of his business. Period. On the plus side, it didn't take long to see what kind of person he is. No? Were you supposed to swish in like a real housewife and to tell your chauffeur to wait outside the classroom? How ridiculous. You're so not the a-hole. You're just a girl who likes or liked a boy who turned out to be a gold digger and they claim it's always a woman. Please. And OP responds, it's a little weird when people say it's a man or a woman. I think that anyone could act this way. Yes, OP. And now you're very much ahead of the game. Additional information from OB's comments. We actually met through mutual friends and we do not go to the same school. I met him through a friend from his school. We met around Christmas and we all started hanging out for 5 months and then started dating. He has visited my parents' business, but we don't talk about it often. Just never comes up a lot. Sometimes, he'll ask how the business is going and I reply, it's going good and that's that. We both bonded over video games. We share hobbies, dreams, goals and interests, but I never brought up my family money because it's not important and it's not even my money. So while I am surprised by how he feels after finding out a bit more about my family, I disagree with those of you saying I never knew him. Also, we both give rides to each other, mostly me since he got his license about a month ago. Whenever he drives me, I do offer gas money, but he never accepts it because he says I'm his girlfriend. This was before this whole thing happened. Finally, I'm not embarrassed to say that I work so I don't sit around, and I won't take that back. I do only work so I have something to do. It's productive. I don't necessarily need money right now. My parents have literally told me this hundreds of times. Don't work for the money. Work for the experience. We'll take care of the money part. They have always emphasized the money they earn belongs to all of us. I've actually said many times it's their money, and they would correct me and say it's our money. So the community agrees that is not the a-hole, and they've raised a couple of flags regarding a potential gold digger. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. So when I made the original post, it was a few days after our argument. I wasn't going to post an update but lots of people wanted one and stuff actually happened. So here we go. Yesterday, I called Mike and asked if we could meet up for coffee to discuss what to do next. He agreed. As we talked, I explained my family's finances are private, and it was not my business to tell other people. The money isn't even technically mine. It's my parents'. This is why I didn't tell him. Mike didn't take this very well. He asked me how I could just watch him struggle for months and not do anything. How I pretended to feel bad for him when I didn't even understand how bad his life was. I responded that I did feel bad, and I have been supportive. I reminded him that I tried to get him a job at my parents' grocery store, but he didn't like it so he refused. I would always give rides to him since gas was expensive. I offered gas money whenever he did drive me, but he always refused since he wanted to pay for me. Even just emotionally, I was trying to be as supportive as I could while he was stressed. I acknowledge that I don't understand how hard his life is because I've never lived it, but I've done my best to be supportive emotionally. Mike just dismissed all of that and said that wasn't the point. He said that for him, the money wasn't the issue. It was trust. He felt that I had kept something significant from him, and he's wondering what else I was hiding. He said that he wasn't asking for handouts, really, but knowing I had the means to help him but chose not to made him feel unsupported. Mike complained he felt like there was a huge gap between us now and he will never be equal to me. He then told me there was no reason for me to hide such a big secret from him. At this point, I got angry. I corrected him saying he was asking for handouts. I mentioned our previous conversation of how he said that I could have helped with his car and gas. I explained the money he so desperately wanted wasn't even mine. It's my family's. I told him that he wasn't entitled to the money my parents spent over 2 decades earning. I couldn't just bail him out of whatever problems he has with money. Then I went back to how I did support him, just not financially. I'm ashamed to admit that I did kind of lose my cool here and almost started yelling. After that, I calmed down and explained that I would never shame him for his struggles. My family never has either. They love him. We don't care about how much money someone has. We talked for some more, but I eventually told him I wanted to break up. It wasn't because he was upset I hid my wealth, but it was for digging into my family members' lives. I told them that it was extremely invasive, and I couldn't forgive that. And I couldn't feel comfortable around someone who would do that. It was a breach of trust for me. Mike also told me he wanted to break up since he didn't feel comfortable in a relationship where the financial gap was so big and that our lives were too different. We ended the conversation and parted ways. The good thing is he goes to a different school, so I won't be seeing him around. Part of me feels sad since I do love him. It was my first relationship and I wanted it to work, but I also feel relieved because I wasn't sure if I could take whatever Mike would do if I stayed. I really didn't like him snooping in my family's lives. I'm wondering if I made a mistake ending the relationship now and it really, really sucks. Was I too harsh? I'm not even sure. I don't think I'll be dating anytime soon. I'm not too eager now and just want to be clear. I don't hate Mike. I do think that he probably just never saw money like ours and that he was just shocked in general. And I get that he is 16, and I'm sure he will grow out of this mentality. I hope he does have a better life, but I can't continue with him. I don't like that he tried to dig in my family members' lives. Opie's at it. I wanted to clarify some things. A lot of people were asking about the car. Mike's car is old and used, and it was gifted to him by his uncle since he doesn't use it anymore. It's about 8 years old. Mike didn't buy the car. Also, Mike doesn't know the true value of my parents' money. That's why he was digging around. It seems like people on Reddit thought that I was perceived middle class or poor. I never was. Mike and others knew I lived a life that was well off. I just never talked about money. That's all. Mike does not know about my parents' other assets. He started thinking we had more money than he thought because he found out about the vacation home. That's why he tried digging through my family's information. He still doesn't even know close to anything since my parents keep their assets secret. Even I don't know them. People don't start digging into you until you give them a reason to. Offset it too. Okay, so apparently, 8 years is not old for a car. Sorry, I don't know how cars work, laughing emoji, but it's been heavily used anyway. Well, OP, don't beat yourself up. I think ending the relationship was good. Like you said, Mike kinda poisoned it and that huge gap that was between us. It wasn't financial and he's the one that put it there. And I also agree with your wishes for him. Hopefully, he will leave this mentality behind because it's toxic and it doesn't help at all. Take care, Opie, and thank you for sharing. And now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post from a subreddit I've never read before. This post is from the subreddit Identity Theft and it's by user Methadron00. I hunted down the people who stole my identity. Yesterday morning, I received an email notification from my credit card company stating a transaction for $1,500 at a med spa was declined and another stating it was approved. I immediately called said credit card company to report to the fraudulent charge. Turns out, my card has had fraudulent charges over the past 3 weeks with purchases including various hotels in my area, eBay, gas station, self-storage, and moving truck rental. I rarely use this card. The last time I used it in person was in February and last online purchase in 2023. Fortunately, my credit card company flagged all recent charges and closed my card. This morning, my significant other had a doctor's appointment in the same city as a hotel purchase made yesterday. After the doctor, my boyfriend asked me what I thought we should do today. I said, well, you wanted to shop for some new shoes, or we can swing by this hotel up the street and see if the credit card thieves are still there. The amount seemed like it would cover 2 or 3 days. So my boyfriend and I go to the hotel to see if the people were still checked in and to let them know the card was stolen and the charges would be reversed. The front desk lady was pissed. She was able to find the reservation by card number and noted that the person had kept changing cards to pay for the room. Of course, they didn't tell me the room number, much to my boyfriend's dismay. Boyfriend was hoping to get a room key to take their stuff. Lol. Yeah. Right. No. I called the credit card company and they asked me to call the police. I called the sheriff's department and they arrived within 20 minutes. I was surprised they even came. I gave them my report, ID, and credit card. The deputy asked if I wanted to prosecute. I said, yes. But can I prosecute if my credit card company is going to refund all the money anyway? Then they went inside and spoke to the front desk who provided them the invoice. Boyfriend and I waited outside in front of the lobby. Then through the automatic sliding doors, I hear the front desk lady yell, that's him. He's trying to leave. Light Hispanic dude with a bull terrier and several bags gets placed in cuffs. He gets brought outside, searched, and doggo gets scuffed to a trash can. Then another little Asian guy gets brought out in cuffs. A third deputy arrives and brings out a fancy Asian lady with a face full of fillers, 2 suitcases, and a Coach backpack. 4 officers start going through the backpacks on the hood of their car. We see passports, IDs, credit cards. They pull out a big credit card printing machine and a laptop. Then they pull out a big Ziploc filled with crystal meth and the cop exclaims, "Here we go," and turns towards us to flash a smile. 2 of them go back to search the hotel room and bring down 2 bags with more drugs, a scale, 4 car keys, and a big wad of cash. Unfortunately, none of the cars were in the parking lot and the perps said they had been traveling by Uber. The cops contacted one of the thief's friends to pick up the dog who arrived pretty quickly. It was an older Asian dude with tattoos, flashy jewelry and an old luxury SUV. Don't worry, we got his pictures and license plates. The deputies then gave me all the paperwork and told me that one of the guys said they stole my card off of the internet. I would have guessed that they used a scanner while I was at the fair a few weeks ago. I find that so weird because I haven't used my card online in almost a year. Apparently, They made a physical card that had a different name on it. Anywho, I walked inside to give the front desk lady a copy of the incident number, and then I remembered something else. I remembered seeing another transaction for a storage unit that was made yesterday and 2 charges at a rental truck company. I go back outside and talk to the sheriff and asked him if he wanted me to try to figure out where that was. I was able to track down the storage location to a city about 50 minutes away, but no can do on the trucks. I called the storage place, and they confirmed that a payment was made with my card but would not give me the unit number. From there, the sheriff said that it was out of their jurisdiction, and they would try to get a search warrant, but that might take a while. He then said, however, that it might be helpful if I made a police report with the other city. So with nothing better to do, I drove my ass over there and made another police report regarding the storage unit. And that's it. I will call up the credit bureau to freeze my social security now. And OP also shared with us a picture of that credit card printing machine, or I'm guessing that's what it is. In any case, OP, not everybody gets to do what you did, so it's awesome. In general, I just think this kind of thing is a win for everybody.